I want to aspire to be too is more like what you made an example. Because for me growing up, I never saw where someone had felt like me and was restored. I and to be honest, I didn't believe it was possible. Um, even in during the journey with you, I didn't think it was possible. You know,
I
um,
remember those days, Michael. For your listeners today, my beginning of this journey was when my brother reached to me and said, "Where does someone go to get restoration?" And my brother, who I love deeply, was thinking in terms of you send somebody to a place and they get fixed. And I'll
right.
never forget. I said to my brother, "Restoration happens in the context of relationship." And he said, "Well, this person, which was you, unknown to me, he's burned some bridges and he doesn't have a relationship." And I said, "Well, I'll be happy to help build some new relationships." And that afternoon, you and I met and began a relationship. And that's really how restoration happens in the context of a authentic, caring, open relationship.
Yes, and I remember because I arrived to Florida that day, and as you read my book, you'll see where how Mike came in at the broken part. You got me at the most pathetic and broken part in my life, and I remember it was the day I arrived in Florida. We met that day, and uh, I remember we went to Wendy's on 9 Mile Road. You came and picked me up in my parents' house, and because I didn't even have a vehicle, you know, and you came pick me up. We went to, you know, to the Wendy's there, and I remember I sat down, and I couldn't believe you were one of the first persons that I just broke down and I think told my story to, you know. But also at that point, I think it was important that I didn't even know nothing about you, because if you were someone I had known, I don't know if I could have been open with you because of all the shame and guilt I had, you know?
And Michael, for your listeners today, and those that read the book will see this. That's not an exaggeration. You were at probably the lowest place I could imagine. I remember vividly you were having trouble even holding the glass. I don't know if it was tea or Coke or Diet Coke, whatever we were drinking that day. Uh, you were you were a crushed, broken man. And
Yeah.
out of those ashes, God has done a miraculous intervention. And it's just been wonderful to watch the healing and the restoration. And not only the healing and the restoration, but then taking that healing and restoration to other people. I'm so thankful to be part of that journey.
But it wasn't an easy journey, was it? I mean,
No, it wasn't that, but that's the nature of restoration, Michael. And you know this is, if we think this is going to be a 3-day fix, then we're naive. Usually,
exactly.
it's a walking this out, and the more intentional. I love the name of your broadcast here. The more intentional we are about that, I think the more we can process through it, because we typically in life stay at a superficial level, a superficial relationship, superficial conversations, superficial fixes. Um, and sometimes when we say we want help, really what we want is relief. But when we
Hmm.
get to the place that we want not just relief, but really help, um, then we start getting that help.
Yeah.
And you walked through that process and you did it well.